The first thing that we're going to talk about in terms of our core development is going to be the identical change that we got as a graduate attribute. More of looking ourselves as a we rather than an I got instilled in all of us. Psychology told us that self acceptance and acceptance of every other differences you're going to notice across people, across all age groups, different categories, different sections, and including them into the society where everyone can grow with a healthy environment, not just for our physical health but also for our mental health, was instilled strongly within us. Another major way in which our identity was molded was mainly because of our cross cultural exposure that we got due to various social relations that we developed with our peer groups during our undergrad. People from across the world, across India, diverse cultures, diverse ideologies, all of them coming together to support one notion that mental health is very important and we have to preserve it. And that's something that we got instilled in us, that the identity is not just about us but also about our environment and with every other person we're going to interact with.
The second component or the second core development that we have experienced as part of graduating from a bachelor's course in psychology is that there are certain series of personality changes that you can observe in your own self. One of the most important ones is empathy. Uh, Throughout the entire curriculum, we have been taught how approaching individuals with empathy is something that will eventually help in the betterment and in increased understanding of their position. Because when we understand people's positions from their perspective, from their point of view, we will be better able to manage or also come up with solutions to the other individual's problem. Or we can also come up with suggestions that would help them come out of mental distress. It can also involve using our own personal experiences to relate with the other individual's problem. If at all we have had a first hand experience that is similar to that of the other individual, it would be helpful for us to understand from their point of view and from their perspective. Another important part of personality that has changed over time is courtesy. Since we have been taught how individuals come from varied backgrounds, different cultures, different communities, we have developed an increased tendency towards addressing other people with respect, addressing other people with increased politeness, and also at the same time ensuring that we communicate to other people what we actually intend to say without hesitation. The third important part of personality that has changed through this particular program or through this particular course is that we have developed personal connections with other people, which has a significant component of confidentiality. Because when people share information with us by trusting us, we believe that it's important for us to keep the information that they have shared with us confidential rather than sharing the information with other people or spreading gossip, which might result in breakage of trust that we have established with other people. Because trust is the foundation of strong personal relationships, and trust is something that will also determine how long the relationship can actually survive. The third core development that I want to talk about is competence. And competence is not in just terms of, say, the ability to understand psychology more conceptually, but to also understand how psychology can be applied in more practical ways towards the betterment of society in general, especially in fulfilling public health and also ensuring well-being of society. So, understanding how mental disorders function and how understanding mental disorders show themselves in different ways or manifest themselves in different ways in different people from different cultures over time in an individual's lifespan is something that helps us to develop greater sensitivity towards certain signs, symptoms, or also at the same time certain clues that might actually act as premorbid conditions or certain core genetic or also psychological conditions that might act as ways in which that increase vulnerability towards a greater mental health disorder or concern. So these are certain skills that we have learned that would help us actually identify various ways in which we can intervene as such.
The next graduate takeaway we're going to talk about is about academic competence that we got in three major ways. The first one is about the dynamics of the field of psychology. It comprises the biopsychosocial approach towards anything we take in the field, for example, be it the psychological disorders, in terms of diagnosing it or in terms of treating it. So the field is in such a way that it gets molded by each and every subject, be it like philosophy or anthropology as well. The second thing is about the major debates in psychology. You majorly find four debates, the first one being free will or determinism, second, nature or nurture, and third one is reductionism or holism, and the fourth one is ideographic or nomothetic approach. And every time and any problem which is related to psychological or mental health turns up, these four debates play a prominent role in deciding whether a particular treatment or a diagnosis should be in either of these approaches. The third thing that's going to be coming up is the versatility in terms of higher education. So, students of psychology graduates, we can work in counseling or clinical or cognitive or neuro and whatnot. So, every major stream that you're going to find in terms of masters will always have that friendly neighborhood psychology grad student who's going to help their peers with this unique field.
The final core development that I want to talk about is social responsibility and contribution. So, as we know, psychotherapy or treatment of mental health or mental health care in general is something that is only accessible to people who have the luxuries of life, people who have decent income that has already helped them satisfy their fundamental basic needs of survival. But at the same time, what about those people who cannot afford mental health care? What about those people who cannot even afford physical health care, albeit mental health care? So, the course has also introduced us to certain systemic inequalities, discrimination, and also certain economic conditions that can act as barriers for people to access mental health services. So, the course has also helped us develop insights into these core issues and has made us more ready to approach populations that are underprivileged and also develop an open mind towards helping them in our future. And by keeping in mind how certain people cannot afford mental health care, we are now better ready to solve their problems and also not expect monetary compensation for our services towards them. So this video is just to help you all understand what are certain greater core developments that we all have experienced, or this might differ from one person to the other, but in general, these are certain skill sets that we have honed over time as part of learning from this particular course in psychology. And I think this applies to most courses of psychology. And yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. This was a bit of an informal one, but yeah.